Okay. Ciao, Massimiliano. So thank you for taking time to do the interview. So you are the Director of Customer Experience at Subito at the moment. You have a lot of experience working on huge portals, Italian portals that deal with a lot of visits. And, I'm just interested in general what you think about design and how these products are evolving, how much value they offer to customers. I mean, you've been in this industry for like 20 years, as far as I know. So let's see, what would be the first, can you just explain Subito, your current job, what do you do at the moment, at Subito?
Yeah, I'm working in this, let's say it's an Italian company, but we are part of a multinational one. And actually it's a marketplace. So it's selling and buying used and new stuff. Yeah. So let's say the aim is putting buyers and sellers in contact. Yeah. So we just expose things that like old bike or new bike, used car, an apartment, a phone, and it's like Craigslist. So yeah. So that's more or less is this business model.
Yeah. Well, Craigslist has the issue with sex ads. So you don't have that.
No, we don't have it.
Without it's like Craigslist without sex ads. Scandal.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
That's not a good comparison, with Craigslist. Because of the Netflix document.
Quite well. Let's say Gumtree.
Okay. I think also. So you're like doing a good thing that other guys are, you don't have that bad stuff. Okay. I know Subito, yeah, so it's not doing that stuff. So, and what's your position? You're a Director of Customer Experience at your LinkedIn. What does that mean?
It means that we're taking care of the experience of the user, I'm talking about like customer support for consumer people. And all the process of review content in order to give good content, as you just mentioned, we need to have a good content, and all the anti-fraud activities. So try to avoid scammers on the site.
Okay, that's very interesting.
And of course, yeah, tell me.
How much bad content is there?
Well, it's not much, fortunately, because we review all the content. So all the content.
How do you do that? How do you review all the content? There is like millions of things.
Yeah, we do it many ways. We have automatic system, and also we have manual. So we have a bunch of people, a lot of people, great people with reviewing the content and accepting or refusing what is good and what is should. So I'm not talking about, when I'm talking about bad content, it's related to our rules. So for example, we don't want the easy thing is we don't want illegal stuff on the site, of course, but also we have our editorial rules that follows sort of our principles, so our values. So like guns, that's an example. It's not forbidden to sell guns. We don't want them on our site.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you have an ethical stand, yeah.
Exactly. So so we review the content. We try to give good content.
Yeah, and do you get a lot of customer feedback? Customers telling you, I don't like this, I don't like that. Can you make it better?
Yeah, we do. We actually, I started a program where we gather all the feedbacks from the customers. And we cluster them. So we split them in terms of, let's say, domains, so user problem to solve. And then we redistribute those insights to the entire company. So that's what we do.
Okay. That's interesting, because I'm very interested in the concept of open innovation, where companies are designing products and making design decisions or any kind of decisions influenced by people outside the company, customers, partners, or anything, And I think internet companies like yours, they are like constantly bombarded with a lot of feedback, So, and do you think that in general customers are very positive? Like they really want to make Subito better. They feel like it's their own thing,
Yeah, but we have a I mean, positive feedbacks are always good, but I tend to focus on the negative. So because people
No,
are
no. What I meant is that they are. I mean, they can criticize, but
exactly
they are still treating it like their own thing. Meaning they're still motivated to share something. You know. So I think criticism is actually much better than
it
positive.
is
You know, because they're making something better.
it
Yeah.
is definitely. I mean, that's really a gift because there is somebody from the outside telling me what's wrong, and maybe I
Yeah.
mean, me and my colleagues working all day on the same stuff, we don't see that we may improve that thing, but people using every
Yeah.
day is giving us some hints and clues to how to improve, and that's really the value of the feedback. Actually, it's not like okay, well
Yeah.
done. Yes, it's nice to have some compliment, but when we get criticism, that's far better. That's really.
Yeah, yeah. And how much of that passes through to design, to product design, to actual
Well,
product?
I would say a lot. I don't have like figures, but let's say that all the teams when they have to work on some issues on some user problem, they ask us, let me see what the user are telling about. What is the main problem? And that's a source of inspiration
Mhm.
because there are even
Yeah.
small things that maybe companies is not thinking about as something that is, let's say, mission critical. But when you see that there are a lot of people complaining or asking to improve, then it goes up in the priority list. So
There is someone behind you. I'm just saying
okay,
hi. Someone
it's my
passed.
wife.
Okay. Hi. Nice to meet you. She just passed. Okay.
That's correct.
Cool. Yesterday, 2 days ago, I was doing like a big interview, and my girlfriend, my wife, yeah, girlfriend, she was like stomping on the stairs. You know, it was like, what's going on? And the other day, my kid, Mark,
It's a
sorry?
raw interview, so the
Yeah, yeah. After my kid came into the interview, I couldn't face him away or anything. And then I changed the name of all the interviews into raw interview. So just kind of to adjust the brand a little bit, you know. So because this keeps
that's
happening,
smart.
you know. Yeah. So, um, but you know, what I like, another thing that I was interested in is that you're calling your position customer experience and not user experience. And you know, I'm not a fan of the word user experience. I think it kind of comes from the era when you know, these websites were trying to get users for free, pretending that they are not customers, like they're not giving anything, and they're just giving their eyeballs. And I think customer experience, like using the word customer instead of a user, is much more honest because they are customers, even if they don't pay anything, you know. And what do you think about that? Is that, you know, is that your, do you think the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, yes, let's say that I also have mixed feelings because a lot of times when you hear the word user is like sort of free people that just browse the internet and then comes to
Yeah.
my site. And actually, as you said, all the users are customers because when I
Yeah.
have traffic, then
Yeah.
I grew up in the top list, and then of course with more traffic I can sell advertising, and that's a source of revenue. So every user is a source of money, even though we are not asking them any euro. But yes, to me, I like the word customer because even if you're, let's say, a free rider or a free user, we should treat you as a customer because we're offering
Yeah.
you a service. So even if it is a free service, uh, you need to be treated like you were paying for something because I'm offering you something and you giving me actually something that to me is much more valuable than the money, which is your time, because you're using a service, and so you're spending time with us, and time has value. So I
Yeah.
like customers better
Yeah.
as a
So is so is that your preference? Did you come up with that title, or that's a company policy?
no. I mean that's my preference.
Oh, okay. So that's great. So you were insisting you didn't want to use the user
Yeah,
because I really don't like, Mhm.
no, go on, please.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I go ahead. No,
You wanted to say
I
something.
really, as I said, I really like thinking about customers, and because user is
Yeah.
much generic, so everybody
Yeah. Yeah.
user or something or anything, but when it goes to a product which is actually a service, and we make money
Mhm.
because we're not actually a company that doesn't make profit, we need to treat people as they are, so customers.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. So now there is a big question. You know what I think, what I find, why I find Subito so interesting. Oh, my chair is so squeaky. So Subito is an Italian portal. I just looked at Alexa. It's I think 8 or 9 in Italy of Italian websites, but it's like 20, 30. I think. Let me just see exactly which position it is in Italy. 24th on Alexa at the moment. For Italy. I don't know. I mean, do you care about Alexa as a ranking? Is
Not
that
really.
relevant? Not, not really. But anyway, let's use it for discussion. I think it's there. Let's say Subito is very high, one of the top Italian websites, but there are still a lot of international websites in the top list, beating a lot of Italian websites. And this is something that's going on everywhere. I mean, Italy is a big country, 60 million people, so it can produce these competitive experiences like Subito, and can compete against eBay, Amazon, Facebook, Google, all these others. But smaller countries cannot even come close to that. I mean, it's extremely difficult, So, what does Subito offer to compete against internationals? What is its value? What's the culture?
Well, I would say, and that's my personal opinion, that the fact that we are an Italian company based in Italy, and we are really close to the really close to the market, that is an advantage, because we're actually producing and developing services and products for the Italian, done by Italians. Well, of course, we're not all 100% Italians. We have a lot in the company, but
the culture
the culture is that one, and it's not like the big companies that develop a product and it's one size fits all. So we're just based on the feedbacks, as we mentioned before, from the customers, private, professional, because they have, every country has the peculiarities. Even think about regulations, how you sell things, how people like to see things. So I think that's quite an advantage to be. I mean, I see as an advantage to be in Italy and to be Italians. So we can talk to our. I mean, think about the big OTT. I don't know how easy it is to get in contact with them when you have a problem. I don't.
Yeah. What is OTT?
Yeah, the over the top, like the Google, Facebook, Amazon.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And,
well, with us, you can write to us, we answer, you can chat with us. So I think that's and we are here. So that's a pretty. I think that's a pretty nice advantage. Of course, they're bigger than us, so I mean, wow, and they're smart. But we are here, so we are fighting for our position in Italy, and it's good.
So I'm trying to define this element of locality. What does it actually mean? Locality versus generic, global, globalized, And the way I see locality has a lot of these intuitive elements, that are very hard to formalize. Meaning it's almost, I mean, maybe at some point someone will be able to formalize it and make it into a rule or software or something. But in most cases, it's still, it's not that easy. I mean, there are websites, there are companies like Subito that are competitive compared to, these generic experiences like Google and Amazon, etc. So the way I see, there are several components to this locality. So you said one, which is open innovation, meaning people customers tell you something and you can easily understand that because you are local, you're much more focused on locality. So they're telling you something, you understand it because you have that intuitive element, and then you can incorporate it into a product and make your product more competitive locally than the general ones, you know. So do you agree with that? Is that like one element of being locally competitive?
Maybe it's, let's say that if you have people working locally, it's not just to be the local company, because even if you are, let's say, a foreign company and then you based in Italy, you can do the same. So it's, I think that the fact that we are based here and we are developing here, that's the advantage. So we could do it even in another country. Of course, it takes a little bit more time to understand some dynamics in terms of culture, because tomorrow I move to France and I do the same job, or Germany. Of course, I need to understand what are the differences between Italians and Germans and French people in the relationship with a company. So in when we have touch point, what should I tell them? How even the tone of voice is important.
But I mean, for the regulation, that's easy. You just go to the lawyer. They tell you what to do.
Talking about culture.
The design intuitive element. Again, you can hire a local company, and they can do the visual and the look and feel, the brand. But what really, the product value, the way I see it, the product value is that constantly, because that takes enormous, and I'm looking at what takes more energy. So designing.
I think really, I think really culture is important. I remember a few years ago, I was talking to well, he's not a colleague, a person I know. He is working in the same business as I do, and in marketplaces. And he was talking about, I don't remember if it was Germany or Switzerland. So, but, and the fact that, the funny thing is, they were trying to launch a new product, which was a marketplace. And they were fighting against the market leader, which was well established, but very expensive. So even to place an ad, even if you were a private, you had to pay a bunch of money, and it was not really cheap. And when we're talking, he was telling me that, for example, for them, for the customers, the fact that their site was free against the other side was not free, was not an advantage. So the fact that it was free culturally didn't mean anything. While, for example, in Italy, I know that if it is free, it's I want it right now. Why in that country, no, because there were so they said that, okay, it costs me some money, but I know the quality out of that product, so I'm not going to switch to a free product because and that's quite, I mean, interesting, because it's completely different from our culture. So if I am using a site, even a news portal, if I'm using a news portal and then they ask me, there is a paywall, and they ask me to pay few euros, I'm pretty sure that a lot of Italians are switching to another news portal just to save 2 euros. So and cultural thing.
Well, they don't trust it. I don't think it's about 2 euros. I think they don't trust it.
You need to gain the trust before getting getting to use your and which is a completely different approach in how you propose your product, because it's not like, come here, it's free, do some advertising. No, you need to be so you need to understand the dynamics behind the people living in the country.
Well, that example I see as a company thinking that it's going to be so easy that just by being cheaper they're going to win, which in most cases is not. People don't care so much. They don't care so much about the price. I mean, when they're under extreme stress, they do. They have no choice. But even then, I always tell my clients, remember that people went to war and died because of a marketing campaign. I mean, people are going to go give up everything. And that's not, I mean, in the middle of the last century, people were going to war. They see posters and some TV, I mean, I come from Serbia in the 90s. People were going to war for TV. I mean, people don't care about a few euros or 1,000 euros. They care about emotional stuff, and they are very much driven by it. I mean, of course, if they're choosing between BMW and Mercedes, then maybe the price plays a role. But if they're choosing between something they don't trust and something they trust, you know.
Yeah, but because what I recognize, for example, in Italy, is when something is free, at least we tend to test it. So for sure we give it a try. So when the word is free, wow, let's try. So and that's why, I mean, that's also another way of doing marketing campaigns. So come, it's free, free trial, whatever. That in other countries that doesn't work. That doesn't really work. So price doesn't make a big difference, as you said, but in some cases can help.
You know where freemium doesn't work?
Huh? Freemium.
You know in which country? You know where it doesn't work? You know where it doesn't work?
Premium.
In North Korea. It doesn't work in North Find me one company that entered North Korean market by offering something for free.
I don't know any. Even in the country.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm just still trying to analyze where is because the way I see it, constantly improving the product, like listening to customers, they're sending you some feedback and you're sending it to the product design and improve. That's a constant process that requires constant energy. So that takes a lot of people, a lot of salaries, a lot of time, and that's constant. And that's something that you guys are doing, or girls, sorry to be chauvinist. So you girls and guys are doing, and that I don't see Google doing. I don't see anybody, you know, like McDonald's is pretending to be local by saying our potatoes are made locally or our tomato, but everything else is the same. So there is zero difference. You know, that's what I call signaling. You know, they're faking to be local. But truly local company is actually, it has this enormously expensive process, which big companies cannot do on a large scale. So that's what I'm looking for, a process which makes a company local. So what is, because as I said, you can have the local campaign design, but that doesn't take so much energy because Google can hire 100 people and make the Italian design or whatever, French design, Russian design. But the point and the regulation, but the point is that they cannot go in 100 countries and have someone listen to all the feedback and then go back to the product and make separate products. That's, you know, for everybody.
Well, that's why, yeah, I think that's why they have to do, and they do actually, to develop outstanding products. So they are worldwide recognized.
And free.
The standard up. Huh?
And free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, so you don't complain. They're outstanding because they're free. You know, that's the, Google,
yeah, but they're also very good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, they were good. And then because they took the market, we don't know what else. I mean, we haven't seen anybody really challenging the search or social media, you know, so that's a bit of a problem. They were great. They became big in the start because they were amazing products. But after they took, you know, let's say monopoly, then we don't know. Maybe, you know, maybe there would be something else. I don't know. You know, that's the problem. Someone needs to.
I'm really curious to see who is going to challenge, because it's true what you said, that they are so big. There are many companies that currently in the world are so big. They have so much money that they can buy a country with the money.
Yeah.
Actually, they can solve the state debt of small countries with just some cash. Yeah. But I still think we might see something new coming. We have seen, I'm not really a super fan of Tesla, but they are changing the way car producers are approaching the electric.
Well, yeah, Tesla. I mean, I'm a strategist. So what Tesla is doing is unbelievably crazy. They need like 10 billion euro funding to do what they're doing. And I think what Elon Musk is doing is really, because you see, usually the way you compete, you do not, like when you have Google, you do not want to compete against Google. You go and you go to a completely new territory. That's the point of innovation. You go to mobile phones, and after mobile phones, you go to VR. That's why Facebook is always AR, VR. You always want to go to the next territory because you cannot compete in the established. You cannot make a new oil company. You cannot make a new, construction company. It's just, there is like already like 1,000 of them that have been being built by 100 years, consolidated, whatever, and there is no way. There is nothing you can do. I mean, you either go to North Korea when it opens to Mars, or you invent a new device or something virtual where you can again do the same thing, and where it's something completely new. And the value of Google is zero in that market, and you can start over, but what Tesla is doing is they're making a car. It's directly head on. And that's why the automotive industry was like, I mean, the cars look the same for like, I don't know how many decades or hundreds of years. It's super boring. I mean, they're like mega status quo doing nothing, and they're all causing another status quo with oil industry, with energy, with roads, with everything. It's like unbelievably stuck. And you cannot, because they operate on small margins. Everybody's like, everybody has big dreams, but it's so complex, so big, and everybody's afraid of losing 0.1%.
Market to big companies, to GM, to whatever, to Volkswagen. And actually, what we see as a big value in terms of innovation is not their cars, which I read they are fantastic, but is the fact that all the other car companies are actually following this trend, this hype of being electric,
I did a list of innovations. I did a scale of innovations. I made it on my blog from, I think, 1 to 10. And one level is when you don't really change the market yourself, but you stimulate the change of others. That's kind of a suicide mission, and that BMW and everybody else is gonna, make electric cars because Tesla made it, and the energy industry is gonna change because of Tesla, because now all of us have the idea that electric car is cool. And before it was not cool. I mean, I know about electric cars and all this stuff, from way before Tesla, but they were so uncool, they were so ugly cars, and now they finally made a cool car, and also with the autopilot and all this stuff, So, that's an interesting level of competition, but you have another in Subito and your business in general, your career, you're always building these Italian portals that are again fighting against global brands. So
another thing that it's quite important to be local, and I mean the business we're working marketplace is not new. There is nothing. I mean, it's selling and buying stuff. So it's, if you go back to the old newspaper when you could see the AAA, I sell a bike, so those classified ads. I mean, business model hasn't changed much in the last, I would say, 100 years, because it's always,
I would say thousands of years.
Yes, I mean, I was thinking about the print when we start to print the ads, but yes.
Still thousands of years. There is a classified ad from ancient Egypt.
Yeah,
and it was clickbait. It was like, do you know about it? I mean, you can Google it. It's very funny.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, I lost a slave. If you find him, it was a him. Bring him to this address. You're gonna get a great award for finding my slave, and I sell the best fabrics ever. So clearly, it was an ad for fabrics. It was not a thing for the slave. So that's like some 3,000 years old.
That would be that ad would be refused, because that's marketing for us. It's not like lost and found. Actually, there are two ads.
Yeah, Tutankhamun didn't have you to filter that out in the ancient Egypt.
So the model, it's, as you said, it's old as we start to sell and buy stuff. So the only thing is to ease the process. So to make contact, to talk to people, even if they are, distant. Even though I think a great value that I like in marketplaces when we talk about used stuff is the geographic, the location. So if I buy stuff from an e-commerce it's easy. I pay, I swipe my card, and then it's delivered at my house, and that works. But the good I'm receiving can come from any part of the world. So the funny factor, and the thing I like about buying and selling used stuff is, first of all, you meet people, and that's a part of the experience. I'm quite a heavy user of marketplaces, and I always found it funny selling stuff and buying stuff from people, because you meet them. First of all, you can, and by meeting them, you can understand where their needs are. I remember I was selling an old IKEA table, quite old, ruined, but let's try. And it was like, I don't know, 20 euros, nothing, table and chairs, so all the complete set. And then I found people interested in that table, so I met them. It was a young couple. They were just moving, and we started to talk, and they were telling me their story. They were asking me if I had anything else to sell, thing that I would never think to sell, like, do you have an old pen or old, I mean, usually the old pen, you trash it. When you can try anything on it, pan, sorry, no, not pen, pan. And then
pen, ok. Dimmi in italiano, come si dice in italiano? Pintola, ok, perché tu hai detto penna.
Sorry, I said pen.
Pintola, che bella parola. It's always a beautiful word in Italian.
And that's interesting. And also it's funny, for example, another story that I can tell you. Once I needed to buy, what is called? The bicycle that you use at home, the cyclette? I don't know.
Yeah, the indoor bike.
In a bike, yeah. And that was for a relative, and he just had a problem on his heart, so he needed one to do some exercises. And it was Sunday, so nobody was delivering, but I was in a rush to buy one. And just looking at the marketplace, just finding somebody close to where we were living, going there, they were selling this inner bike, and they were also helping me to put into the car, in the trunk, and explain. That's another kind of experience from buying from an e-commerce. So there are things, even though you're buying the same stuff, telephone, whatever, and maybe not a new brand one, but you're meeting people, and a lot of time you're meeting people with the same interest. And that's a part which e-commerce are missing, because yes, you can write to the seller, you can discuss a little bit, but you will never shake hands. Well, now with COVID, it's not that.
Yeah. Well, I think there is a bit of a problem there, because you know that all these projects like that are big projects. The way I see it, all these really big projects like Google and Facebook and Amazon, they are not generic. You know, they're not generic at all. You know, they're not made for every human. They're based on American culture, because where they started, which is a wonderful culture. I love being in America. I live in America. I love a lot about it. You know, like as much as I love Italian or Serbian or French or South African. So, and American culture is very particular. It's a huge country with a lot of space, you know, and people don't get to meet each other, you know. Like, I had a friend who had a private airplane, a little airplane, and then he would, if someone would annoy him, he would fly across America and punch them in the face. So he would make sure to meet people in person. This is a friend in the early days of forums and insults on forums in like '96, you know. I don't know if he's still alive, but other than that, people don't really meet. I mean, I just drove this year across America. I mean, I didn't realize how big Texas is. I mean, it's like 2 days of driving. I mean, it's like, hello, I don't hear you. I lost you. Your voice. I don't hear you. No, everything's fine on this side. Something Let me see. I don't hear you. Okay, let's finish. let's finish it, and then I don't know what the problem is. I think we said. Let's try again. Hello. Possible. It works fine. Anyway, I think we can. I think we said everything that I wanted to hear. I think we can end now. It's going to be a funny raw interview. And thank you very much, Massimiliano. Maybe we can do it another time again. I'll just leave it here. Nod if you agree. Okay. Thank you very much, Massimiliano. Say hi to your kids and wife and everybody. Thank you. Ciao.